Now, from the Random Studio in New York City, this is the News Update with your host, Andy's Randomness.
Alright everyone, welcome to the News Update for Thursday, October 25th, 2018. A lot to discuss today, of course, and we will lead our first story off today with a quick reminder. If nobody was able to watch today, I will leave it in the card right now. I will make sure that my cruiser's on so you all can see what's on your screens right now, so that way you all can get an idea. We had a debate today here in New York for U.S. Senate for the junior seat. Christian Gillibrand, the incumbent today, debated Shel Furley here in New York. If you want to see that debate, it will be in the card right now. Or, if you don't want to watch on YouTube, if, you don't have the ability to or just don't want to, I don't know how, but I'll quickly mention this Sunday on WABC TV Channel 7, the debate will air at 11 a.m. Once again, that's this Sunday, October 28th at 11 a.m. if you want to watch the debate for yourself. If you want to, of course, DVR it. So now that I got that quick program and reminder out of the way, let's get into the real first main story of the day today, and that is, of course, what's going on with these pipe bomb incidents. We have updates regarding this issue from today, so you will read it. Investigators search coast to coast today for the culprit and mysterious motives behind the bizarre mail bomb plot aimed at the critics of President Trump, analyzing the innards of the crude devices to reveal whether they were intended to detonate or simply sow fear 2 weeks before Election Day. 3 more devices were linked to the plot, 2 addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden and 1 to actor Robert De Niro, bringing the total to 10 in an outbreak of politically loaded menace with little, if any, precedent. Authorities warned there may be more. Law enforcement officials told the Associated Press that the devices containing timers and batteries were not rigged like booby trap package bombs that would explode upon opening, but they were still uncertain whether the devices were poorly designed or never intended to cause any physical harm. A search of postal database suggests at least some of the mail came from Florida. So pretty much what I'm trying to elaborate here is that these suspicious packages were mailed from the state of Florida. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the ongoing investigation by name. So I'm not really going to talk about it that much, but here is a timeline of events here. So let's take a look at this for a sec here. Details have emerged of the bombs from a widely circulated images of the envelopes and their contents. Return address to Representative Davey Wasserman Schultz was misspelled. Now, I'll try to pull this up so you all can see this. I do apologize about that, so you all can get an idea. There we go. This is what we wanted. Okay, so I'll zoom this in if you're on a phone so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about here. So, Schultz is spelled S-C-H-U-L-T-Z. On the package, it was spelled S-H-U-L-T-C. So that's suspicion number 1. The addresses were blurred in this image provided by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, known as the FBI. An unspecified device attached to the wires with wires and taped to the pipe. All of the bombs were packaged with powder and broken glass. So this is very suspicious. And once again, Thanks to the Associated Press for getting this information out. This also is from ABC News. I'm not really going to get into more of this, but you all get the idea that this is very scary. Let's just see if any details were from... okay, here we go. Trying to get you more information here. Okay. A retired New York police detective working in security in Robert De Niro's Manhattan office building called police after seeing image of a package bomb sent to CNN and recalling a similar package addressed to the actors. The packages that were addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden were intercepted at Delaware mail facilities in Newcastle and Wilmington, according to a law enforcement official who, like others, wasn't authorized to discuss the investigation and spoke on condition of anonymity. And keeping in mind, I'll quickly bring this up. I know it really wasn't... here's one. President Trump at a Wisconsin rally said last night, "Let's get along. By the way, did you see how nice I'm behaving tonight? Have you ever seen this?" So, of course, Trump, being the egotistical person he is, he has to make it about his ego again, but we're not going to talk about that. But I will say this. The situation with Robert De Niro took place earlier this morning around, I would say, right before 6 a.m. And then the incident with Joe Biden, believe it or not, also took place in the wee morning hours. And another incident with Debbie Wasserman Schultz with another pipe bomb. Pretty much that was in the wee hours of the morning today, October 25th, 2018. So we have an FBI picture here, officially from the FBI. So let's quickly read this. This is very important here. We need to read this very quickly. Alright, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and its law enforcement partners are seeking the public's assistance in identifying the individual or individuals responsible for creating and sending numerous suspicious packages to multiple locations across the United States. The packages were mailed in manila envelopes with bubble wrap and interior, and were affixed with computer-printed address labels and 6 forever stamps. And as you can see right here, here are the 6 forever stamps. They had a return address of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Congresswoman, misspelled. And the packages, which were all similar in appearance and contained potentially destructive devices, were sent to the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. It is possible that additional packages were mailed to other locations. The FBI advises the public to remain vigilant and not touch, move, or handle similar-looking packages or any suspicious or unknown packages. The public is urged to dial 911 or contact your local law enforcement agency. And thankfully, I will bring this up. I do have the phone number to my detective for the 107 precinct here in Queens. So, of course, I would be letting my detective know about this immediately. I'm not going to disclose how I got the number, but I do have my detective's number if situations like this do occur, and we are on alert. And I've been checking my mail. I do want to apologize about that, everyone. The FBI will continue to work with our federal law enforcement partners at the United States Secret Service, United States Postal Inspection Service, and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, as well as our other federal, state, and local enforcement partners to identify and arrest a person or people responsible for sending these packages. If you have any information about any of the suspicious packages, please call the FBI at 1-800-225-5324 if you observe any suspicious activity that requires an immediate response. Once again, you can dial 911 or contact your local law enforcement agency. And particularly, again, my case, I have the phone number to my police detective in my precinct. You may also contact your local FBI office, the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip online at www.tips.fbi.gov. Tipsters are allowed to remain anonymous. So that's very good news if this does happen. And of course, this was sent from the FBI office in New York City. So, of course, we need to be vigilant. It's best to stay tuned with me, stay tuned with Matt Camper, stay tuned to any other source that you get your information from that's an official source, and hopefully there will be justice for this. And again, this is, of course, pretty much this is all targeted for Democrats and people linked to the Democratic Party. And again, whoever did this or people who did this need to be apprehended immediately, and they're going to be tried in a federal courtroom. And that's all I'm going to say. But let's move on to our next story. And we're going to talk about NBC News anchor Megyn Kelly. What is she in trouble for this time? Well, apparently it's not Donald Trump related. We're actually going to talk about something very controversial here. Blackface comments she said on the air back on Tuesday. Alright, so we will zoom in so you all can read it, of course. Here we go. NBC News anchor Megyn Kelly was absent from her NBC News morning show on Thursday following this week's controversy over her comments about blackface, amid indications that her time at the network could be ending after less than 2 years. An NBC spokeswoman said that given the circumstances, the network was airing repeats of Megyn Kelly today, of course, October 25th and October 26th. During a segment about Halloween costumes back on Tuesday, October 23rd, Megyn Kelly defended the use of blackface while discussing a character on Real Housewives of New York City who darkened her face for a Diana Ross costume. She said it was acceptable when she was a kid when portraying a character. Social media condemnation was swift, and Megyn Kelly apologized to fellow NBC staffers in an email later in the day. Yet both NBC's Nightly News and the Today Show did stories on their colleagues' comment. Al Roker, weatherman for the Today Show, said she owes a big apology to people of color across the country. She opened Wednesday's show by saying she was wrong and she was very sorry for what she did. On Wednesday, Mrs. Kelly was quoted saying, "I have never been a PC kind of person, but I do understand the value of being sensitive to our history, particularly on race and ethnicity." The reference to political correctness in the discussion about blackface struck some critics as odd, along with the show's cameras panning over the audience, giving her a standing ovation for nearly 20 seconds. Kelly jumped from Fox News Channel to NBC in early of 2017, but it hasn't been a comfortable fit. Her 1-hour morning show had never caught on with her viewers, especially for a brief bump when she aggressively covered reports about sexual misconduct, and Kelly was said to be unhappy with the amount of light material expected of a 9 a.m. show. Kelly did not respond to an email request seeking comment. So we're not really going to read more into it, but it's pretty much controversial issue, and we just don't know if Megyn Kelly is going to stay on NBC News. So if I hear anything, I will let you know if something is important here. I quickly want to criticize New York One for just a second here. I want to know, okay, they're airing a state senate debate for district number 22, as you just saw. But I want to know, why can't they have John Liu and Vicky Palladino debate? Because it's a very tightly watched race in all of New York. People don't realize it, but it's a very close race. Anybody can win. It could be him or her, and yet people don't realize that. But we're going to talk about the New York State Senate here, because we have a very controversial district, because this is the debate tonight. Martin Golden versus Andrew Gunardries, inside a race that could decide who runs the New York State Senate. State Senator Martin Golden is facing a challenge from Democrat Andrew Gunardries, who unsuccessfully ran against him back in 2012. And of course, there is a debate today. Let me just disclose that. I apologize. I should have put my phone on vibrate. So we'll take a look at this race here. So pretty much, this is Martin Golden right here. And that is his challenger, Andrew Gondries. Golden has represented the southern Brooklyn district since 2003. He and Andrew Lanza of Staten Island are the only two Republican state senators who represent New York City's district. He is a conservative. He voted against gay marriage in 2011. He opposed and voted to block a city council bill approved 5-cent fee on New York City grocery bags last year. Yes, I remember now. I remember this. Yes, that's Nicole Malliotakis. And that's the guy who said New Yorkers shouldn't be nickeled and dimed on every bag that they use. Stop nickel and diming all New Yorkers. Yes, that's the guy in the yarmulke. I remembered him now. He was on Channel 7 last year. I remember this guy. Senator Golden took a lot of heat 5 years ago for his opposition to start a pilot program for speed cameras in 2013. Though, he has recently expressed his support for continuation and expansion of speed cameras across the city. He expressed support for stripping and funding from sanctuary cities, including New York City that sheltered undocumented immigrants. He also expressed opposition to an executive order that granted all New York State parolees the right to vote. The longtime lawmaker is known for focusing on hyper-local issues. He went recently onto a traffic island in Gershon Beach to call for its removal. Alright, so we're not going to get into the Democrat that much, but yes, Governor Cuomo has endorsed him, and Letitia James has also endorsed him. Right, so we're not going to get into it that much, but I just quickly wanted to bring this up because it was on the New York One website, and they are doing it tonight, the debate live on their air, but just quickly wanted to bring that up. Now we're going to get to some MTA news before we get to the important weather update regarding the Noreaster that we are expecting here in the New York area. So we will quickly read this article regarding the funding and what the potential $3 fare coming to New York City Transit next year for buses and subways. Alright. I'm not going to get into that part. Okay, here we go. MTA Chairman Joe Lhota is warning that steeper fare hikes and painful service cuts are not far down the track unless the agency gets new streams of money. Back at the board meeting on Wednesday, Joe Lhota said, "Those are very last things we need to do or want to do, but unless we get a sustainable new source of revenue, we have no other options." Lhota sounded the alarm during an MTA board meeting, invoking the massive service cuts that accommodated a 2009 fare increase. The agency is already planning to reduce costs by, for example, cleaning fewer subway cars and closing some token booths at night. But Mr. Lhota said those cuts will not be enough. Lhota was also quoted saying, "You eventually have to reach a point of diminishing returns with this approach, and we may be fast approaching that point, because after you cut out fat, you then start to cut muscle and then unfortunately get to the bone, and when that happens, that results in service disruptions." The bleak assessment follows a stark warning by New York State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli about the MTA's growing mountain of debt and yawning budget shortfalls. That recent report said the MTA is facing its greatest challenge in decades. Lhota was more blunt, saying the MTA's financial outlook is abysmal. Contributing to the grim outlook are new projections that declining ridership and lower than expected tax receipt will cost the MTA $1.3 billion in anticipated revenue over the next 5 years. Some transit advocates are hoping that tolling drivers entering the busiest parts of Manhattan would be a magic bullet to bail out the agency. Joe Lhota is actually against congestion pricing, saying that even fully developed and completely implemented will not be enough. Nicole Gelinas, a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, said, if people are saying congestion pricing might bring in $1.5 to $2 billion, that just buys them time. They're going to need an increase in the payroll tax, an increase in the petroleum tax, and an increase in some of the real estate taxes that they get. And without that, that increase would fall on the riders. So, once again, it just is the proof that people don't realize that the simple answer is, again, the city of New York's contribution to the MTA. But right now, that's not happening because you know who in City Hall. We're not going to say his name, but we all know who we are talking about here. So, I'm just going to let everybody know this right now. If the MTA next year is threatening any fare hikes, and unfortunately that means you know who I may have to confront, Mr. X. I know I don't want to confront him, but me and him are going to have to see eye to eye on this fare increase. And I do agree with one thing he said yesterday. Money-taking agency. Alright? Because at this point, the MTA just doesn't know how to properly use funds. We're not going to get into specific people in the MTA. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If Mr. X somehow shows up at my hearing in Queens regarding fare hikes, which, again, if they are having any fare hike meetings in Queens, I will be attending. If it's in Jamaica, I'm going to it. Because I have a bad feeling my reduced 135 fare may go up. And the worst part is, and I know this is going to happen too, my Long Island Railroad fares are going to go up too because of this. So I have to fight next year. This is going to be complete hell. But I'm going to. I know I said Mr. X's name. He knows who he is. I'm sure he's going to do the same thing too. There's pretty much a long history with Mr. X trying to stop fare hikes. It's never worked. Maybe this time it will work. Jason Anthony, Matt Camper, Omar Vera, we're all going to have to stand up and tell the MTA, no more fare hikes, because we're all New York City Transit customers. I use New York City Bus and Subways. Matt Camper, he uses the subways in Manhattan. He even uses the subways once a week to go from Court Square 23rd Street to Suffolk Boulevard Archer Avenue Station. Jason Pinero, he uses the subway a lot from Brooklyn. Omar Vera, same thing. He uses the subway in Brooklyn. So we all have to fight. It's very important that we prevent the fare hike next year. I know I didn't want to make a rant, but when I saw this today, I tweeted this out earlier. I needed to talk about it on the news update. This is more important we have to discuss right now because we may be getting a Noreaster on Saturday. So currently right now, we will refresh this so we'll get an idea. So this is not the most recent report, but the current reading from LaGuardia Airport was 46 degrees with a real feel of 40. The dew point is very comfortable at a comfortable 29 degrees. The humidity is 52%. Once again, with the wind chill, it's 40 degrees with the wind at 14 miles an hour, gusting to near 20 plus mile an hour winds. Quickly look at the forecast here. Clouds will increase tomorrow night. Well, actually, late afternoon. We'll quickly go into it. Clouds will start to build in during the late afternoon hours here in New York. It will be overcast, and rain chances will start at 11 p.m. Saturday, this is where we have to be concerned about. Winds could occasionally gust to 40 miles an hour as an approaching nor'easter comes to the New York City area. As you can see here, the best chance of rain will be from the wee hours of Saturday morning going until 6 o'clock at night. Look at the weather alerts. Oh, let's just quickly look at the forecast. Sorry about that. Then we see a recovery, a little bit of it on Sunday with mostly cloudy skies. Monday we have a chance of rain, particularly in the early morning afternoon hours, and then it will clear. It will be cloudy the most of the day, but there will be a chance of sunshine at 5 o'clock. So hopefully we'll get a nice sunset, hopefully. Rest of the week will look good. We'll be in the 60s to start off November. So that is a very good sign. However, next weekend we may see more rain, but that is to be determined. And quickly for the kiddies, know how important this is that they are watching. There is good news for trick-or-treating weather. It looks like it will be in the low to mid-50s during trick-or-treat time on Wednesday. And more importantly, for people attending the Greenwich Village Halloween Parade, it will be very comfortable. So that is excellent news on October 31st, which is this upcoming Wednesday. We have a coastal flood watch in effect for the New York City area until Saturday morning, October 27th. We also have a coastal flood watch in the same time frame. These were advisories issued from the National Weather Service in Upton. Now we will take a look at the GFS. Let's see what the GFS is saying. It looks like Saturday morning is going to be the worst of the rain. We're going to have to determine that, but there is a heavy band of rain that could definitely approach Queens and Nassau County on Saturday. Then it goes out. Let's see that rain chance on Monday. Okay, they're just going to be light showers, so it won't be nothing. And there is Wednesday. Here's Thursday. Here's Friday. Here's the chance of rain on Saturday next week. We may have to keep an eye on this. We have more rain coming next Sunday. I'm just quickly concerned about my birthday. Let's see. Perfect. Looks like it may be dry on my birthday. So let's see if we can get, let's try to do this. Okay, we'll try to get the thermodynamics shaded. See if this will help me here. Okay, there we go. There we go. So now I'm going to see, I'm just curious about my birthday. Let's see what the temperatures look far in advance for my birthday, which my birthday is, of course, many of you know, is 2 weeks from today, so I'm just a little bit curious to find this out. Okay, good news. Looks like on my birthday, it may actually be in the mid-50s. That's excellent news. That's very comfortable. That's good temperatures for my birthday. Which again, I will not disclose what I am doing on my birthday. But let's just check the temperatures for Election Day, because of course I will be volunteering for Ricky Palladino, which I am allowed to say that. Okay, looks like it will be in the low 50s on Election Day. I'm just a little bit curious to find that out, but that's not important right now. We need to go back to what's the topic at hand, and that is, of course, our North American model. What does our friend North American model have to say about the rain coming in? Now, I will confirm this, that we are expecting an inch or two of rain in the New York area. So let's see what. So here's the storm. There it goes. Looks like the storm is going to be leaving in the overnight hours on Saturday with light rain. So it won't be heavy rain. So if anybody has any Saturday night plans, I don't think that should be impacted, hopefully. Hopefully not. Look at that. That's the heavy band of rain. Looks like it's going to hit Cape Cod. There's one little bit of heavy band of rain in the Delmarva, but other than that, nothing to worry about in New York. Total accumulated precipitation. Let's see what it thinks. Okay, here we go. Alright, so this is what the NAM thinks in precipitated rain. It looks like we're going to be under 2 inches of rain from what the North American model is predicting. For the precipitated amount of rain, of course. So, we're going to have to keep an eye on this, and I will give updates regarding this nor'easter on Saturday, and if any storm reports come in from Upton, I will get you that information on Sunday. Now, let's recap Game 2 of the World Series. Pretty much the Boston Red Sox were able to take control again, and I'll get into it. So, Ian Kinsler led off the scoring for the Red Sox. No home runs were hit in this game, but pretty much the icing on the cake was JD Martinez's RBI single knocked in 2 runs for the Boston Red Sox. Steve Pearce walked before that. Get the stats here. Ryu took the loss, 4 2/3 pitch, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs given up, and 1 walk. David Price, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, and 3 walks. Let's quickly recap the World Series schedule. Today is the travel day. Tomorrow night will be Game 3 in Los Angeles, followed by Game 4 if the Red Sox were to clinch on Saturday. Then, of course, Game 5 would be on Sunday. Then you have the travel day. Game 6 would be on Tuesday. And Game 7 would be on Wednesday. So we will quickly preview the pitching matchup for tomorrow night. Rick Porcello will be taking on Walker Buehler. And lastly, let's take a look at the spreads for Week 8 of the NFL. Tonight, the Houston Texans will host the Miami Dolphins. Houston is favored -7.5. The last London, England game of the year. The Philadelphia Eagles will play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Philadelphia, coming off a tough loss to the Carolina Panthers last week, are, however, favored by -3 points. The Washington Redskins New York Giant game is a pick'em. The Giants will be hosting the Redskins at MetLife Stadium. The Giants, of course, have made big splashes this week. They've traded away a couple of their players this week. I'm not going to get into it that much because then I'll have an epic rant because, it just proves the Giants are not a good franchise, and we're not going to talk about that. Please, I just don't. The New York Jets will be traveling to play the Chicago Bears. Chicago is favored -8 points. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming off a overtime win last week against the Cleveland Browns, will play another AFC North opponent, the Cincinnati Bengals, which the Bengals were embarrassed last week on national television on Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati is favored -3.5 points. Quickly, we'll get into it. Kansas City Chiefs host another home game. They will be playing the Denver Broncos. Kansas City is favored -10 points. Seattle Seahawks will be playing the Detroit Lions. The Lions, if they win, will be 1 game above 500. They are favored -3 points. Baltimore Ravens are favored now -2 points. It was 3 points yesterday, but now it's 2 points against the Carolina Panthers, despite them losing to the New Orleans Saints. I had to collect my thoughts there. I can't stop thinking about that missed point last week from Justin Tucker. I'm still annoyed about that, but Baltimore will be on the road this week, but they are favored. Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh minus 8.5. Indianapolis Colts minus 3 at Oakland to take on the Raiders. 49ers minus 1 point to take on the Cardinals at Arizona. The undefeated LA Rams hosting the Green Bay Packers are favored minus 9.5 points. And a good Sunday night matchup as the New Orleans Saints will be traveling to take on the Minnesota Vikings, as the Vikings at home are favored minus 1 point in a potential playoff rematch. This is a potential playoff rematch. It could happen in the playoffs again. Quickly going to wrap up the week. New England minus 14 points to take on the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. So we'll just take a look at the standings to wrap this all up. So that way, we're going to know what's going to happen here. Pats are first place, scores 5-2. Dolphins 4-3. Jets 3-4. Buffalo 2-5 in the AFC East. In the AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers are in first place with a record of 3-2-1 tie. Cincinnati Bengals 4-3-0. Baltimore Ravens 4-3. The Cleveland Browns 2-4-1 overtime tie. In the AFC South, the Houston Texans have been hot. After a bad start, they've won 4 in a row. They can go for 5 tonight and have sole possession of the AFC South. Pretty much, again, the AFC South is a joke, but it's the Texans' take, and at this point, if they played the way they have lately, Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars are 3-4. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-5. Kansas City Chiefs are 6-1. Los Angeles Chargers are 5-2. Denver Broncos are 3-4, and the Oakland Raiders with the worst record in the NFL at 1-5. To the NFC East, Washington Redskins coming off a... let's just recap the bye week teams. We know who has the bye week. Let's just confirm this. Because we are on week 8, so I have to confirm this right now. Okay, we are on week 8. There we go. Are we on week 8? Just confirm this so that we don't get confused here. Yeah, we are on week 8. And I was wondering, where are the Chargers this week? Yeah, so let's just quickly recap it. Week 8, we have bye weeks for the Falcons, Cowboys, LA Chargers, and the Tennessee Titans. I know my Baltimore Ravens, after the Pittsburgh Steelers next week, will have a bye week. And then the last bye week is week 12, of course, and then all the teams play. But we'll quickly do that so that way we don't get confused next time. Let's just go to the NFC standings. So again, the Redskins are in first place after defeating the Dallas Cowboys at FedEx Field last week. Philadelphia Eagles are 3-4, and the New York Giants with the worst record in the NFC. Actually, no. The Giants have the worst record in the NFL. Excuse me, the Raiders have the second worst record in the NFL. Okay, so the Giants are 1-6. Alright, so that makes them the worst team in the NFL. NFC North, you have the Minnesota Vikings at 4-2. The Green Bay Packers 3-2-1 overtime tie. Detroit Lions 3-3. Chicago Bears 3-3. New Orleans Saints, the best team in the second best team in the NFC, 5-1-0. Carolina Panthers 4-2-0. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-3-0. And Atlanta Falcons are 3-4. And of course, the best team in the NFL, who is undefeated, the Los Angeles Rams with a perfect 7-0 record. The Seattle Seahawks at 3-3. The Arizona Cardinals at 1-6 in the same record with the San Francisco 49ers. So, pretty much we're not going to focus on the draft numbers until... I would say the draft numbers matter. during week 14 or week 15. That's when I would look it up for you all. So that's going to wrap up the news update for October 25th, 2018. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, please take care.